And then we'll go ahead, put that up on the skillet, put the burgers out on the grill, and in a few minutes we're gonna have a really delicious cheeseburger. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another episode of Carnivore Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some egg and chopped sirloin cheeseburgers. But before I start, you guys know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, ding ding ding. And if you don't want to watch the entire video, I will be including timestamps in the description with step-by-step instructions so you can skip ahead to the step that you need. Now, before we actually get started with the recipe, what exactly are we going to need? Well, first thing we're going to need is a skillet. You could use either cast iron or ceramic. Me personally, when I'm making eggs, I like to use ceramic because it is a lot easier to clean up and a lot easier to make eggs on a ceramic skillet as opposed to cast iron. So I'm going to be using this ceramic skillet, but you can use whatever you have available. Next, we are going to need some MCT oil to spray the skillet. If you want to be really strict with your carnivore diet, you can use butter or ghee instead, but me personally, I'm only going to be using a couple sprays, so I'm going to be using the MCT oil. We are also going to need some sea salt. I'm going to be using some pink Himalayan sea salt, and I'm going to be using a grinder for the sea salt instead of the one that's already ground up. If you prefer your salt more on the finely ground side, you can get sea salt that's already finely ground, but me personally, I prefer it more on the coarse side, so I'm going to be using this one right over here. And another reason why I like the pink Himalayan sea salt is because unlike regular white bleached table salt that's been bleached and stripped of all its companion elements, the pink Himalayan sea salt is still going to have all of its mineral content intact. So unlike white table salt that is just sodium and chloride, this, while it is 98% sodium chloride, the other 2% is going to have all of those good minerals like magnesium, calcium, potassium, all those great things. So that's why I'm going to be using this. You can use either pink Himalayan sea salt or Celtic sea salt if you are trying to optimize your health. If you don't really care about all that, then use whatever salt you have available if you are on a budget. Next, we are going to need an egg, just one egg, that's all we're going to need. We will need 2 bowls, one to separate egg whites from the yolk, so we will need 1 bowl to put the whites in, 1 bowl for the yolk. We will also need some Pecorino cheese because if you've seen my video from last week with the cheese dip, this is what we used and we are going to be making that exact same thing. So Pecorino cheese, if you don't have this available, you can use Parmesan cheese because Pecorino Romano cheese is essentially Parmesan cheese that's a little bit more salty, and instead of cow's milk, it is sheep's milk. And me personally, I like the Pecorino Romano because I don't do well with cow dairy, but I do very well with sheep dairy, so that's why I like the Pecorino Romano. And we are going to need some powdered blue cheese to make the cheese sauce. Last thing we're going to need is some chopped sirloin burgers. I'm using these chopped sirloin burgers right over here from Brooker's Natural Meats. They don't pay me, but I really like this company, so those are going to be the ones that I use. You can use whatever you have available. If you do live in Canada, Brooker's is in Ontario. If you don't live in Canada, if you are in the United States, or if you live somewhere else in the world, you're going to have to find something else, but those are the ones that I really like. And then lastly, we are going to need a spatula to flip our burgers once we get it on the grill. Now that we have everything that we need, what exactly do we have to do? Well, the very first step is going to be to preheat our pan. So I'm going to just put it at the lowest setting possible. The reason I like to preheat the skillet is because I find that it just makes it for a lot easier when it comes to cooking the egg. If you can put the egg on a surface that is already nice and warm, it's not going to stick as much and you don't need to use as much cooking spray on your pan. But you can skip that step, it is an optional one. Me personally though, I like to do this. Step number 2, we're gonna go ahead, go outside, and we're gonna fire up and preheat the grill. Now that we have the grill heating up outside, it's going to take about 8 minutes to get to the proper temperature. Ideally, I like to get my grill to about 500 to 600 degrees, and once it's at 500 to 600, I'll lower the burners all the way down and then put the burgers on there for 4 minutes, but it's going to take about 8 minutes to get to that temperature. So while we're waiting for that to preheat, what we're going to go ahead and do is make our egg white and cheese mixture. So we're going to take our egg, and we are going to go ahead and separate the white from the yolk. One of the reasons why I like to separate the egg white from the yolk, if you've watched any of the videos in the past, it's because personally I prefer the taste of the yolks to be a little bit more runny. And one of the other things with regard to keeping the yolk nice and runny is a lot of people have this misconception about cholesterol. The thing with cholesterol is there's a huge genetic component to it, so if you don't have a family history of cholesterol issues, or if you don't have issues yourself with cholesterol, it's not really something you need to worry about. And while there is a genetic component, another thing, there's a misconception with the cholesterol in eggs. Cholesterol is self-regulated in the body, so the more you consume, the less your body's going to produce. The less you consume, the more your body's going to produce. And the other issue when it comes to cholesterol is you don't really have to worry about cholesterol. The big problem is oxidized cholesterol. And the way you oxidize cholesterol is by cooking the egg yolk. So if we leave the egg yolk runny, then we don't have to worry about oxidizing cholesterol, and it's going to make it much healthier. Me personally, I also enjoy the taste of the runny yolk, so that's not why I do it, but it is an added health benefit. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and add in the Pecorino Romano cheese. For the Pecorino Romano cheese, I like to add in roughly 1 tablespoon to the egg white mixture. However, it's going to come down to personal preference. If you prefer your eggs a little bit more light, fluffy, and thick, then you can add in more cheese. If you prefer it more compact, dense, and thinner, then you can add in less cheese. But I'm going to add in roughly 1 tablespoon of the Pecorino Romano, and I'm going to add in roughly 1 teaspoon, a nice big teaspoon, of the powdered blue cheese. And now that we have all of that in there, we are going to go ahead and mix this up until it is well combined. Once that's all mixed up, then we're going to go ahead and place this on the skillet, and then we will go ahead, hop outside, put the burgers on the grill, and that's pretty much going to be it for this recipe. There's a few other little steps, but pretty simple recipe to make, and it tastes absolutely delicious. If you ended up watching the steak recipe that I uploaded a couple weeks ago, this is basically that steak recipe, but instead of using steak, we are using the chopped sirloin burger. So you can really use this for absolutely anything. This cheese dip is amazing, and you do not have to only use it on your steak. You can also use it on burgers if you really like. So if you do like cheeseburgers, this is a great alternative to regular cheeseburgers if you're just going to be using those Kraft slices or any of those types of processed cheeses, because this is going to be a much healthier alternative because it is all natural ingredients. All you're using in this cheese mixture is going to be egg yolks and cheese, whereas those cheese slices that you get from the grocery store, you really have absolutely no idea what exactly is in them. So you're better off making it from scratch yourself if you are trying to optimize your health and you are worried about your health. Almost forgot to add the salt. When it comes to the salt, me personally, I like to add 1 turn of the salt shaker for every egg that I have in here. And because I only have 1 egg, I'm just going to do 1 turn. So we're going to do 1 in the egg white mixture, 1 in the egg yolk mixture, and that is it for the salt. I'm just going to go ahead and mix that up a little bit more, and that's pretty much ready to go on the skillet. But we have a couple more minutes before the barbecue is going to be at the proper temperature, so I'm just going to let this sit here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll go ahead, put that up on the skillet, put the burgers out on the grill, and in a few minutes we're going to have a really delicious cheeseburger. Alright, it's just about time to go ahead and put the burgers on the grill, but before we do that, we have to put the egg whites and cheese mixture in the skillet. What I'm going to do is just raise this to a 4, and I'm going to go ahead and add a few little sprays of MCT oil. We don't really need too much because this pan doesn't really stick at all. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take our cheese mixture, and we are going to put it right in the center of the pan. This one came out a lot thicker than the way I usually make it, but I feel like making a little bit of a thicker egg this time, so let's see how it comes out. I'm going to just go ahead and flatten it roughly to the size of the sirloin burger. That way it'll fit nicely over top. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead, toss this in the sink, and then we're going to go ahead and put the sirloin burgers on the grill. Alright, so the barbecue's at 500, just where we like it. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is let's put these burgers on the grill. And we are going to turn off the far right and left burners, and then we are going to lower the rest, because that is the way that they come out perfectly, and we will come back in 4 minutes and flip them. Alright, it's almost time to flip the sirloin burgers, but one thing that I forgot to mention was a lot of times when you get those frozen burgers, they recommend that you cook them from frozen. Me personally, the first time that I made them from frozen. The second time that I made them, I let them thaw out in the fridge, and I find that if you thaw them out first, they come out a lot better. So you can try both ways, see which way you prefer. Me personally, I prefer to let them thaw the night before and then cook them fresh as opposed to frozen, because they come out a lot better. But again, you can do it however you like. Anyway, right now, we're gonna go ahead and flip this egg white / cheese contraption. There we go, that looks really, really nice. You guys can't really see it from that angle. You might be able to. Yeah, now that this is flipped, we're gonna go ahead, go outside, and we're gonna flip those sirloin burgers, and we're gonna come back over here. Alright, as you can see, the barbecue's starting to get nice and hot, so we're gonna go ahead, open it up, and we're gonna flip these bad boys over. First one. There we go, that looks really good. And so we don't accidentally kick kill the crap out of them. We're just going to spray some water on there, let the fire die down a bit, and we are going to close it up. And in 4 minutes, we will be back. All right, now that we flipped the burgers, it's time to get the cheese sauce ready. For the cheese sauce, we're gonna take our egg yolk mixture and we're gonna add about 1 teaspoon of Pecorino Romano cheese and roughly 1 teaspoon of the powdered blue cheese. When it comes to the cheese sauce, this, again, if you want it more on the thick side, then you could add more cheese. If you prefer it more runny, then you would just add less cheese. So it's going to come down to personal preference, but experiment with it and see how much you like. I find that if you do 1 teaspoon of each, it's going to come out pretty thick if you are only using 1 egg. The last time when I showed you how to make that cheese dip, we were using 3 eggs, and we only ended up using 1 teaspoon and maybe 1.5 or 2 of Pecorino Romano. So if you did like the way it came out that time, then you're gonna have to add a little bit less. If you prefer it though more on the thick side, then you can add in a little bit more. This is what it's gonna look like if you have 1 teaspoon of each for 1 egg yolk. You can see it's pretty thick. I can hold it upside down over here and I could talk to you guys for an hour and this stuff is not gonna come out at all. Just gonna mix it a little bit more. We have a couple more minutes before we have to remove the sirloin burgers from the grill. Right now it's been sitting on there for 7 minutes. I'm just gonna let this sit here for another couple minutes, and in 2 minutes I'm gonna go grab those burgers, put them on the plate, then we're gonna put the eggs on the burger, and we're gonna put the cheese on top of the egg. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, it's been 4 minutes. The temperature is still holding. Let's go ahead, take these burgers off the grill and put them on the plates. And then we can go ahead and add our cheese to it. All right, there we go. Everything's pretty much done. Now it's just time to assemble the burger. The egg came out a little bit thicker than how I usually make it because I added a little bit too much cheese, but pretty sure it's gonna taste pretty damn good. So let's just go ahead and take our egg white / cheese mixture, put that on the burger. And lastly, we are going to take our egg yolk cheese mixture, scoop every little bit out of there, and we are going to place it right on top of our egg. This, one of my favorite meals. This and that steak and cheese / egg recipe that I made a couple weeks ago. I would say those are probably my 2 favorite meals. They are absolutely delicious. There we go. And I'm not gonna put this to waste. Delicious. And here you have it, the finished product. So we have 2 sirloin burgers with a lovely egg white and cheese topping. You guys have to try this, it is absolutely delicious. But that's pretty much it for today. I'm gonna leave you guys so I could go ahead and enjoy that meal. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more recipe videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. And if you have any particular recipes that you would like me to make, go ahead, leave your suggestions down in the comment section. The ones that get the most likes, I'll try my best to make those types of recipes. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.